Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for frame rate is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of Frame Rate is brought to you by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes and movies on your PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or TV instantly, all streamed directly to you, saving you time, money, and hassle. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/twit.
I don't know how it works on the farm, but here in the big leagues, you can't run out on one of your little potty breaks every time a big story's about to hit.
For Pete's sakes, Lois, can I help it if my bladder gets a little silly Susan when I get nervous? Scott.
Thank you.
It's Frame Rate!
That's not the name.
What's the name?
Framarate.
Welcome to Aim Rate Fray. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Brian Brushwood. Hey, do you believe that little short, that 1-minute video dedicated to classic Superman, done all by one guy? Classic animation.
Wait a minute. Okay, so I was watching that wondering, like, why are we opening with this, like, old cartoon that was obviously done by professional animators back in the day? And you're saying that was done by one guy?
Yeah, this guy's name is Rob Pratt, and as a matter of fact, the video, you got to check it out on YouTube. Just look up Superman Classic, Rob Pratt. He talks about how he was influenced by the original Supermans and just wanted to do a short little 1-minute video where he honors the original one. He created his Clark Kent and Superman based on all of his favorite actors who portrayed him over the years, and of course, if you've ever seen any of the original ones, they even that villain was based on a classic villain here, and he actually got the guy who did one of the actual Superman TV shows to voice it, did the whole thing by hand, scanned the pages in, drew all of the background stuff digitally. Fantastic job. That's what I love about the internet, is that it makes possible for people to just be one-man studios and tell their own little stories and follow passion projects that they love. That
is incredibly impressive. It just looked so classically Superman.
Oh, yeah, you just assume that it's... I mean, you could tell that it was done modern, with modern equipment.
Yeah,
the color vibrant, it wasn't on film, that kind of thing. But I thought, fantastic little gem. That was sent up to us by the framerate@gmail.com, and I will have the name of the person who sent that in by the time we finish talking about the big story.
Thank you, person who sent that
in. This just in, the big story.
Netflix is raising the prices, folks. Jesse Becker posted up on the Netflix blog today that they are splitting the DVD and streaming-only options. So in a way, they're lowering their prices, because now, if you want to get one DVD out at a time plan with unlimited numbers of DVD a month, it's $7.99, 2 DVDs, $11.99. That's cheaper than the current one DVD with streaming, which is $9.99, which is what I have. But you don't get streaming with that anymore. If you want streaming, you have to pay another $7.99. So there's where the price rise comes in, because if you want to have one DVD out and streaming unlimited per month, it's going to be $7.99 plus $7.99, so essentially $15.98 a month.
It's very kind of you to call this some form of price decrease, because where I'm sitting, it looks to me like me who has the 1 DVD a month plus unlimited streaming seems like I'm only paying what, like $9.99 a month right now?
Right.
And it seems like in order to get the exact same level of service, I'm about to get dinged for 2 separate plans to the tune of what, $16 a month or so?
Right. I mean, it's an overall price increase. There's no other way to look at it. But it could save you money if you don't care about the DVDs. I have the DVDs for no reason. I just it was only a $2 edition, so why not keep them? But I never watch the DVDs. They just sit around. So to me, I'm looking at this like, well, I might as well just ditch that, since it's kind of nudging me into something I could have saved money on since they've introduced the streaming only plan, but resisted. Now it's going to push me into giving them less money.
Okay, so here's what I want to say. I do not want to sugarcoat this at all. This is definitely a price increase, no matter how you look at it. And you know what? I'm 100% okay with it. I don't want to pretend like, in fact, clever, longtime watchers of Frame Rate will know that I've been calling this for months, and if not years. This was too good a service for too cheap for too long, and I saw this coming a long time ago. And in fact, we were talking about it, and I said that they could get away with charging $30 or $40, and I'd still be in because it's such a good service, right?
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is we were talking about this on Tech News today. Lance Ulanoff from PC Mag was saying this could hurt Netflix. This could kill Netflix because people may leave in droves. I don't agree. I think people are going to be upset by this, and they are. They're complaining on Twitter. They're complaining in our chat room. They're complaining everywhere. I don't want to have to pay $16 a month. But once that's done, and they've looked at the competition and looked at the other alternatives like Amazon with Amazon Prime, which is a pretty decent alternative, or Blockbuster, which is less decent alternative, a lot of them are going to come back and say, you know what, it's still a pretty good deal, or, well, I'm just not going to pay for the DVDs anymore. And I think that's what Netflix wants. I think Netflix is saying, we don't want to pay for the shipping. We kind of want to phase out that DVD side of things eventually and just have the streaming. And we want to make as much money off that streaming as possible because the bill is coming due for streaming rights, and it's going to be huge now that there are a lot of other competitors in the market bidding up the prices to get the rights to stream stuff.
There was a brief window when there was there's always, whenever there's a new form of communication, there's this brief window when nobody really knows what stuff's worth, and you just run blindly forward, hoping that your business model will take root and expand. And for example, the days when Buy.com thought that it could be ad supported and sell every single item at a loss. That turned out not to be sustainable. And likewise, this deal that they got with Starz, this sweetheart deal that put Netflix on the map, was too good to be true for too long. Now Starz is going to want a grown-up paycheck. They're already having to deal with the reality of their bandwidth costs. And I'm not saying, obviously, I can imagine no world in which they're still spending more money for the bandwidth of instant streaming versus the fulfillment costs of physical media.
Yeah, I don't think bandwidth costs are an issue, really.
Right, but they're definitely, they've been undercharging for way long, and to be honest, all this means is I don't get the convenience of having the guilt of an unwatched DVD on my mantle for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. I mean, how often did you even watch DVDs on Netflix?
Lately, it's sort of been a chore. It's been something, it's like, okay, I got the dishes all washed, I did the vacuuming, I brushed the pets, and I got to watch that Netflix DVD so I can send it back for it was no longer an entertainment option. Streaming was the entertainment option. Just popping on the Roku box and saying, what's on Netflix, what can we look at? That was the entertainment option. So I think this works for me, and I'm not too upset about it. However, I am not everyone, and there are lots of people out there saying, no, there are a lot more DVDs available than there are movies and TVs on streaming, and I want access to all those DVDs still, and I want access to both, and I don't want to pay double for it.
I cannot. Good riddance to DVDs. Like, the only thing they were good for is for getting a few Scooby-Doo titles. And I am bummed. Like, there's a few Scooby-Doo titles that were on Netflix instant streaming, and then they took them off, and so we had to get the DVDs for the kids. But on balance, it's I could care less about physical media. All it meant was that I had to wait a day, even one business day in this day and age compared to the instant streaming. I didn't want to wait that extra day, and I didn't want the physical media. I hate putting physical media in, watching the FBI don't you dare unauthorized show this to a bunch of people and charge money. The waiting for the menus and clicking through all that stuff. Good riddance to all of physical media. And if this is a step to encourage, now, obviously the pricing is not so sweet that I'm like, hooray, I'm saving a whole $1 a month by not, getting physical media. But I do like the fact that Netflix is finally recognizing that its instant streaming service has value, and they're starting to charge for it appropriately. Because originally, when it first started, it was like, hey, man, get Netflix. By the way, you also get free instant streaming, whatever that is. But nowadays, people know what it is. They know how good the service is, and it's not. They're charging what they should be charging for. They're still not charging enough. They could get so much more money out of people, and they'd still pay. Not that I'm saying I want them to.
Streaming was just a throw-in. Remember when they first launched it? They said if you have the 3 DVD plan, you get 3 hours of streaming a month, and they had a limit on the amount of streaming based on what you're paying. And then they said, you know what? That's restricting adoption. People aren't using it, and what we want to get them hooked on the streaming. So they got rid of it. And they said you can stream as much as you want for your price. Then eventually they put in the streaming only option for those who are like, I don't even need the DVDs anymore. I just want to get the streaming. And this is the logical next step to say, look, we need to account for what is DVD and what is not. And we need to know if you're using the DVD subscription. We've got to staff up for that. We have to buy envelopes. We have to prepare for that cost. And we can be more accurate about that if we know exactly who's really subscribing because they want the DVDs. And we can pay for that better and start to scale that business appropriately. And then get the people who are really just streaming to put their money in the streaming, take that money and take it and bid on the stuff that we want to add. I think Netflix is gambling here that they're not going to drive enough people away to make a difference, and they're going to be able to take that money and increase their selection on streaming. We'll see if that gamble pays off.
Well, and keep in mind, if there's a silver lining to this, it could be that that number one, it forces people to pick a side, because I suggest that very few people, I think the vast majority of people, actually, I don't know, I can't speak for other people. Talking for me, I know that this is a no-brainer for me. I drop physical media, and I don't do 2 subscriptions at once. Second of all, if I'm dropping physical media and now I'm only paying my fee to Netflix month over month just for the instant streaming service, that suddenly changes my expectations. Because right now, if there's a title and it's not on instant streaming, it's always there or almost always there on DVD. And I'm like, well, I guess I could put it in my queue and get it eventually. All of a sudden, that's not okay with me anymore. If it's not on instant streaming, and if it's a reasonable amount of years since it came out, I want to know why they don't have it. And now I, as a consumer, am going to put direct pressure on Netflix. They're like, seriously, why is the original Clash of the Titans not available? Why is the new Clash of the Titans not available? Or whatever. I mean, and keep in mind, I don't know which of these are or are not on the instant streaming. But the point is I will grow to have an expectation that any movie more than 15 years old should be on Netflix instant streaming, and I will start to seek that completeness, and as a consumer, I will put pressure on Netflix to demand that kind of thing.
Uncle Big Bad in the chat room makes a really good point. He's like, it isn't more expensive to stream the movies than it is to ship the DVDs. In fact, it's arguably the opposite. It's probably more expensive to ship the DVDs, so why are they the same price?
Wait, are the 2 plans the same price?
$7.99 for 1 DVD a month, unlimited number of DVDs, and $7.99 for unlimited streaming.
I guess the difference is there is a $1 premium to the value to the consumer of getting what you want instantly. And that makes sense. I think roughly the 2 services are of equal value right now. One, you get the wider variety of movies
and higher quality of movies, especially if you ship in a little extra for the Blu-ray.
Right, correct. But you do have to wait an extra day, and some titles won't be available at the moment that you want them. And the trade-off is with instant streaming, you get anything you want, multiple movies, movie after movie, nonstop, but you have a limited library and a reduced quality. I think it's a fair trade-off right now.
Hey, good news, Europe. If Netflix makes it to January, you're getting it. Netflix's long-awaited European debut may have been scheduled for January 2012, according to Spaniards.
You weren't serious about, like, if Netflix makes it. Like, I mean, you're just responding to the chat realm, sitting there crying, saying Netflix.
Yeah. No, I fully expect Netflix to be around in January.
Okay,
I'm 99.6% sure they'll still be around in January. But according to Spanish papers, European version of Netflix coming in 2012 sometime.
Well, good, because I, for one, my heart goes out to everybody who repeatedly and very loudly writes us at framerateshow@gmail.com telling us that Hulu or Netflix or whatever isn't available in Canada or Eastern Europe or whatever. Our hearts are with you, but...
And it's going to Latin America. It's in Canada, and you know what? The people in Canada are like, yeah, but our selection is crap. And that was actually true of Netflix when it started in the U.S.
Guys, by the way, that's very un-Canadian of you to complain about the selection. I would expect Canadians.
Well, that was my Americanization of what they said. You know, what they actually said was like, well, you know, I hate to point it out, but you know, the selection of the Canadian Netflix, I don't know. It seems like it might not be quite up to the same level as the American one. Want to play some hockey? So anyway, it takes a while for those deals to get put into place and for them to beef up the streaming. So, you know, you may want to, as they roll out into your area, you may want to hold off for a little while and kind of see if they can get those license deals, see if they get them bulked up. Let a few early adopter friends pop in, and once it gets up to the level of selection you want, then you jump in.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, so let's put on our prediction hats here. What does this change for Netflix? First of all, I already predicted this, and I think it's an important growing step. That number one, the number one. Make sure I do the right finger. Number one solidifies the importance of Netflix instant streaming, and it takes it from a corporate perspective where it ceases to be an additional add-on service and becomes the star player on the team. And I think very quickly, if people have to choose, I think more will choose the instant service over the physical media.
I really honestly can't add anything to that. I think that's dead on. In fact, I would look soon for Netflix to start touting some major acquisition or other. When I say major acquisition, obviously I don't mean buying a company. I mean acquisition of a licensing deal of some sort, and in a way that's not like in the trade press saying like, "Hey, we struck a deal with such and such distributor." I mean, expect Netflix to start marketing themselves. You can get every episode of Seinfeld, or you know, whatever big property they've added to their collection, and start really pushing that.
One more thing, I'm going to make an outrageous prediction. I'm going to say that within 1 year, you will start to see a Netflix instant streaming premium channel that offers higher definition 5.1 surround titles and titles that come out the same time on physical DVD and Netflix instant streaming. At first, it'll be very limited and very sporadic, but
probably some indie studios or something. Yeah, I could see that.
If you pay $16 a month, then you get Netflix instant premium. Although hopefully they'll come up with a better name that doesn't have so many syllables.
That's possible, quite possible. You know what else is possible?
What?
That we're going to move on to Film Found.
By the way, Tom.
I've been hit. Yes.
That Superman thing, we have to thank, you're gonna be surprised, from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Robert Young sent that in. Not Justin Robert Young, just good old plain Jane Robert Young sent that in.
Not just Robert Young?
Yeah, not Justin Robert Young, but just Robert. And Robert Young.
This Justin Robert Young is the one who sent that to us.
There we go.
Robert Young sent that to us.
Hey, also just in from someone on Twitter, I'm going to do the same thing you did and not have noted who sent this to me for a moment. But Bruce Campbell has signed on for Evil Dead 4.
Okay, I had a weird... First of all, my inner geek is exploding with joy. There are flowers exploding out of his eyeballs at this very moment. Yeah. This is huge news, but it makes me think of how bizarre my experience coming to love the Evil Dead whole franchise was. I worked in the movie theater when Army of Darkness came out, and I was like, this looks like crap, and I never really watched it. But then, like, a decade later,
I watched Army of Darkness in a movie theater in Austin.
Not in Austin. Not in Austin.
Oh, okay.
I did. It was in Houston. I worked at the movie theater in Houston. But the point is like in the theater, it just looked too low budget and crappily made, but all the things that made me hate it in the theater made me love it when I watched it on the small screen. You ever have that happen to you?
Well, yeah, absolutely, right? I believe Evil Dead was like that for me because the first time I saw Evil Dead 2, I saw it not in a theater. I saw it in a university setting. It was one of those things where they had it up on a big screen. They had a projector and all of that. And I was like, oh, so yeah, I get it. It's trying to be campy and it's kind of funny, and then when I watched it on VHS, maybe a couple of years later, I was like, this is awesome. Like it was the same franchise and it had that same effect.
That is awesome. Yeah, I had the same Multiplicity, that terrible clone movie with Michael Keaton. Watched it in the theater, hated it. Saw it on HBO. Oh, it's kind of cute. It's kind of cute.
Citizen Kane was not like that for me. I liked it in the theater and on later on my television.
So is there any rumor about what will be the content of Evil Dead 4?
Not as far as I can tell.
Or will it be a third remake of the first one? I guess it would actually be a second remake.
Army of Darkness was a different take.
Yes, Army of Darkness was a different take. So it would be a second remake of the first one potentially.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be.
Wait a minute, I never saw the first one, but I just heard that the first one was pretty much just a serious version of the same stuff.
It is. They were intentionally campier in the second one because they realized that's what worked about it, and they had a bigger budget. But it is technically a sequel because they allude to the previous story, even though the previous story is exactly the same as the second one.
Right.
Let's
what else to say about this?
Then let's move on to the new Apollo 18 trailer. Apollo 18 purports to be a movie. Well, it is a movie, but
it claims to be a moving picture.
I don't think it's possible, Brian.
Just time and space.
But it's about a purported 18th Apollo mission. Apollo 17 is the last mission to the moon, but apparently there was another one, Apollo 18, that no one knew about, and this movie tells you why. We never found out about it.
I don't know if you have the footage right here. If we can, we could toss to it right now. But one of the things you and I liked about this right from the get-go is that it seemed to be a throwback to the Blair Witch style of mockumentary. And they really, if you watch this second trailer here, it ramps it up, and it's very clear that from beginning to end, they are presenting this as if it is unedited found footage, which I think is a really neat idea for this story, especially in that it gives a bizarre reason for why we never had an Apollo 19 mission. But if we can get some audio on this, this is supposed to be all unaltered footage from Apollo 18.
Here we go, Ben. You ready?
I sure am. I'm waiting a long time for this. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Only 12 guys have seen this view.
Day 1, DOD mission report. I gotta document this. Nate says he never snores in his sleep. Now I got proof.
Houston, how does the motion sensor work?
Yeah? Yeah.
We've been experiencing unexplained malfunctions.
Look at this. Flag's gone.
Tracks. They aren't ours. They lead away from our site.
Mike, you're picking up interference. I've never heard anything like it.
Restoring communication needs to be priority 1. Without that, we're not going home.
What the hell is going on?
Looks like the hull's insulation is damaged.
Something's moving. Something's inside my suit.
Nate! What happened out there? Infection is spreading. Stop! They took us both! This is Apollo 18. Do you copy?
Oxygen's getting low.
Anyone, please!
Something else out here. Open the hatch.
Oh, God!
So, first of all, let me state disclaimers out of the way. I did not like my movie experience of the Blair Witch Project. However, I loved the idea of the Blair Witch Project. And the best part of the Blair Witch Project were the little, before viral videos were even a thing, really, before there was a YouTube, they would post these little making of clips that appeared to be from a bigger project talking about people interpreting the footage. Whereas the actual execution of the movie, I thought, had a lot of things that didn't make sense if this was really found footage. It is my hope that being somebody who loves the story of the Apollo missions, being somebody who loves the idea of this found footage documentary, it is my hope that this could be the experience I wanted to get out of Blair Witch over a decade ago. How about you, Tom?
I think it's fantastic that they were able to get access to the original sets where the moon landing was shot.
Was faked.
Where the moon landing was faked. You know,
and then they're able to continue the tradition by faking aliens on the
right.
moon.
It's so meta. Help me get past this really. I will admit right up front, this is a ridiculous objection.
All right,
but so help me if you can just help me like jump right over it. If there was an Apollo 18 mission, it would have been covered. All of the missions were covered on television. Even if they were, nobody watching them, they were covered. Every space shuttle launch is covered. How is that? Why? What is the explanation? And maybe it's in the movie for Apollo 18 being done in secret in the first place.
Occasionally, a movie will muck up an explanation. For example, The Matrix. There's this little moment when they explain that the reason that they have all these humans in hibernation is because they need it for the energy. And see, the bodies combined with a form of fusion give them all the energy they need. And I'm like, I'm sorry, did you say you have fusion? Then why are you messing around with human bodies, right? That's the dumbest explanation of all time.
That's a cleverly hidden flaw. I get that.
Okay, but so in my mind, I rewrite it and say, well, what they meant was we need to harvest the problem-solving capabilities of humans. So we keep you all in a dream state, and that's why the Matrix exists. When you think you're doing paperwork, really solving our problems for us. Then all of a sudden I'm okay with it, right? Likewise, maybe they'll cover it fine in this, but if they don't, let me give you one in advance. For security reasons, since it's the Cold War, they don't want to show anything blowing up. It would make America look bad. Every single of the previous Apollo missions had a 3-day delay. Only after...
I like it.
Would they release all the footage in real time? They gave the illusion of live footage when, in fact, it was never really live. When 18 went so badly, they, blah, 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 whatever, something like that. And then you'll be fine. Does that work for you?
It does. I immediately jumped to Apollo 13 and say, well, it was a 3-day delay. Did they wait longer until they were sure?
Okay, it's a 1-week delay. I can extend the delay.
But no, that is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you, sir. You have restored my ability to enjoy this movie.
Thank goodness. I'm excited about it. Who owns it? Does anybody own it in the draft?
We did not have Apollo 18 in the draft.
Yeah, it was excluded for some reason. I don't know if it was a delay or what, but it was in there initially, and then it got removed.
It was excluded for being too awesome.
I think its date either got moved or was indeterminate. In fact, I vaguely remember someone saying, well, wait a minute, they've changed the date of Apollo 18.
Yeah, I think it got changed.
And we had to actually take it out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sure
hey, speaking of which,
I guess it's time to check in on the NSFW show Summer Movie Draft.
Oh, yeah.
Just calling it the NSFW 2011 movie draft makes it sound a lot more interesting.
Yeah, right. This is the movie draft of boobies.
So last week was your movie, Zookeeper. You only have one more movie left, Captain America. Zookeeper did you a fine, upstanding $22 million.
That's not the opening weekend I needed. I was hoping the Zookeeper would be the next Grown Ups or the next Night at the Museum. Instead, it appears to be the next Your Highness.
You are now down at $378 million, ranked number 4. Justin Robert Young still on top for another week until Harry Potter comes out at $466 million. But Sarah Lane just behind him at $438 million. She has Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. She is likely to come close to doubling her total.
Oh my gosh, it's unreal. Wow. Thank goodness nobody's actually going to watch this. Harry Potter, you said it's called?
Perry Hodder.
Perry Hodder. Perry Hodder and the boring school book.
Yeah, Perry Hodder, attorney at law.
I've heard if you go to see that movie, you will get malware, so be careful.
Wow. It's like a snow crash virus that ruins your brain if you go watch it.
Now, I'm excited because we've got a couple, we have a week, after Harry Potter, you get Captain America, you get your last shot. It's a good shot. Captain America's looking fine. Then we're into Tom country, where all my marbles are on the table to be bet.
Tony, edit this out. We can't be having that kind of language on this show. This is not an SFW.
Cowboys and Aliens, The Smurfs in 3D, and Rise of the Apes. Cowboys and Aliens and The Smurfs on the same weekend, Rise of the Apes the week after. That either, overperforms and puts me over the top, or I'm out. But I will actually go out of last place at that point. I am certain of that. I'm at 169 million. Cargill's in front of me at 377 million. I think the Smurfs is already being advertised, is going to bring in the kids. I think Cowboys and Aliens, which is also being advertised, is going to bring in the peeps that don't have kids, and then hopefully Rise of the Apes isn't panned. But I think Rise of the Apes is my Achilles heel.
No. Rise of the Apes is one of your better picks because
here's the thing.
Exchange, it's currently projected to do over $100 million, and you got it for only $10.
We'll see.
The buzz on this just keeps getting better.
Here's my problem. Last night, dinner table, Eileen Rivera, my wife. I don't know if I want to see Rise of the Apes. She's a freaking canary in the coal mine for this kind of stuff.
What?
It took the wind out of my sails because I was up there. I was like looking at that Hollywood Stock Exchange, feeling good about it, and then as soon as she said that, I'm like, uh-oh.
You stayed married to her after that?
What's her birthday? No, of course I stayed married with her.
You're like, no, of course I divorced her instantly. No, of course. What up? This marriage is annulled as of this moment. Let me see. I still think I have a chance, provided, let me do some calculations here. Yeah, all Captain America has to do is make $873 million on an opening weekend, and I'm golden, as best I can tell.
Good. All right. There we go. Well, that's.
I'll tell you what, though. I mean,
pretty much wrap up the prize and give it to Brian, folks.
Sarah is running away with this. She's projected to make over $800 million and stomp all of us. But we really do have a 5-way race for second place. Yeah. I can't believe this. Like,
my heart is set on second place at this point.
I'll tell you what, we should do a side wager on between you and me doing second place, because that's what it's been, the two of us back and forth, and it all comes down to Captain America for me, because Zookeeper.
What's the color of your money, Brian Brushwood?
It's
mine's blue.
Mine is silver, in that I've got a nickel for you.
A weird green and yellow combo.
Some more Canadian cash.
Yeah, it's a
he
problem.
Carries around with
that
him
stick
everywhere.
never gets old.
Yeah, man, dude, we actually do have an interesting race for second place here.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm all about it. Let's move on to tube tops, though. We got lots of tube tops to talk about. Tube tops. We don't really have a whole lot of news in the tube tops world because it was premiere week. All the big summer geek movies came back around the last couple of weeks. Sci-Fi had all of their big premieres last night on Monday, so we're in full swing of the summer movie season. And I hear you just parked your butt in front of Cartoon Network recently.
Let me tell you something. I just spent the last week in a trailer down by the beach, and it was awesome. That's why you have this awesome raccoon-eyes sunburn that I have rocking right now, and why I look kind of like a beach bum. But one of the things that happens is, number one, I had no internet bandwidth, which means, unfortunately, I was not able to continue to watch Fringe episodes. So I have not continued the Fringe experiment. But I watched a lot of random TV, and it's like, I find it so adorable watching channels with live content, and you just watch whatever happens to come on from time to time.
It's kind of relaxing when that happens, isn't it? It's like, I don't have to choose. I just surrender myself to the live broadcast.
I found myself, first of all, I want to say one of the more unusual things I ran across was I was trying to find something for the kids to watch that was nice and quiet, and about 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday or Saturday night, I stumbled across PBS's POV documentaries. Have you guys seen this?
No. What is POV docs? I don't know this.
Oh, okay. So they're documentaries with no narration. There's no David Attenborough talking about this snail doing this thing or whatever. It's just raw footage. That in the one I saw, it was the life of these shepherds who. So it's like I'm flipping.
Wait, so there's no interview footage either?
Nope.
Okay, because it's normal for a documentary not to have any talking like a narrator. But it's usually narrated by interviews, so you get that, and then we go out into the fields, and then it cuts from the shot of the close shot of the person to some B-roll. So you're saying it doesn't have any of that? It's all POV. It's all from the point of view of the person that you're documenting.
Correct. I am flipping channels and I see sheep and it's quiet, and I think like maybe it's Sunrise Earth or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And
the
then
pretty channel.
I kid you not. I was mesmerized because it cuts to a shot of these sheep in a field when it's snowing, and it sits there for 30 seconds with no dialogue, no audio, nothing. I mean, you just hear one bah, and that's it for like an inordinate amount of time. And the next shot is this hypnotic shot of off the back of a trailer with a bale of hay rolling, and as the hay rolls, these sheep come running up, and it's hypnotic for like a minute straight. And then it cuts to a sheep being born, and the guy yanks out this baby sheep and then takes another sheep and throws the one on top of the other. And you're like, why the hell is he doing that? There's no explanation. And it took a while for me to overhear their badly mic'd conversation in the background for me to figure out that they're trying to make the mom adopt adopt not only the sheep it just gave birth to, but the other one to make it smell like it or whatever. It was hypnotic. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to check out more of those POV documentaries. I don't know what else to say about it. People in the chat room seem to have heard of it. But
how the hell are you ever going to get streams on YouTube with that?
I don't know. But the other thing I watched, I finally watched my first full evening of primetime
Cartoon Network.
Dude, some of the
Adult
best.
Swim?
No, not Adult Swim. Not Adult Swim.
So before Adult Swim, prime time.
I'm talking for the kiddies. I watched a full episode of Adventure Time and of Regular Show. Regular Show and Adventure Time exploded my brains with how funny they were. I cannot believe it was made for kids. And I'm pretty sure the voice of the dog in Adventure Time is the voice of Bender, which makes me happy too. It is. But it's like after watching that, I'm going to go back and watch every single freaking episode of both regular shows, Regular Show and Adventure Time. They are freaking epic. New favorite show. Sorry, Fringe.
No worries. Are you watching Fringe?
Well, like I said, I had bandwidth issues. I had a narrow urethra of internet connection and was unable to watch it until now. I'm finally back home. My internet's fixed. Fringeathon 8000 starting ASAP.
You didn't have a going problem. You had a growing problem.
That's right. I had difficult growing the episodes. The bandwidth meter just sort of stuck there and just didn't keep on rocking.
Well, I have been watching Breaking Bad. I'm a couple episodes from the end of season 2 now, and season 2 seems to me to be a continuation, a very good continuation of season 1. Season 1's only 7 episodes, so it makes sense that you just kind of stay in that same vein. So I have a question for you as a Breaking Bad veteran. It looks like I'll probably, if not finish by opening day of the new season, at least get pretty close. Is the third season a departure at all from the second season, or is it like that where it just kind of keeps going in a logical progression? I mean, obviously things happen and stuff changes along the way, but there's not like a big jump like, ooh, we took a 3-month break.
No, I'm going to say everything is a regular progression. The whole series is like a fractal in that you glance the whole story. It's the same story as you see in episode 1, but like a fractal, you zoom in and you see more and more intricacies and you see how different characters react to things that they learn and that kind of thing. The only negative I can say in all of Breaking Bad, and you'll see it when it happens, I forget which season it is, but there's this break when all of a sudden you could tell one of the actors got some cosmetic work done. And it's this 1 year when all of a sudden the teenager, the 16-year-old teenager, suddenly is clearly like a 23-year-old man. And the mom, who originally looked like she was late 40s, suddenly looks early 30s. And it's just because she obviously got some facial work done, or either that or has some amazing miracle makeup that she's wearing now. But she suddenly gets like way younger and way hotter.
Okay. And the kid was probably a little older than they cast him for at the beginning, and then suddenly looks like, because that happens in your 20s sometimes. All of a sudden, you look like a grown-up.
Exactly.
All right, well, that's interesting. Also, as I mentioned, Sci-Fi Premiere Day, I didn't watch Alphas yet. I kind of put that off because I'll tell you what, the previews are not convincing me. It's kind of a heroes thing, like kids with special powers doing secret missions and all of that stuff. Like it's kind of a cross between Heroes and X-Men. But nothing in the previews has really made me have to see it, so it's on my DVR waiting for me to watch it either tonight or tomorrow. But I did watch the premieres of Warehouse 13, which I think is it's getting better all the time. It's not for everyone, but if you liked Warehouse 13 before, you're definitely going to continue to like it. And I think it's expanding in its creativity and its quality as they did last year. And Eureka is back, which was a solid opening. Probably not their best season opener, but a very, very good story. And Felicia Day joins the cast starting next episode, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, wow. Congratulations to her. Did you already mention Torchwood? Did you watch Torchwood?
No. Torchwood was on Stars on Saturday. I watched it and was disappointed, I have to say. I know.
I'm so excited about this.
I know. What I wrote on Twitter is still my review, which is if you've liked Torchwood, you will still like Torchwood Miracle Day. But if they're trying to appeal to other people who may not have gotten into Torchwood through the Doctor Who universe, it's not working. It's a very good Torchwood episode. It is not a very good episode for the uninitiated.
It's not all of a sudden looking like Battlestar Galactica. It still very much looks like Torchwood.
It's a very, very good concept and a very good story idea and mostly well told. But I thought the plot was a little shaky at points. Just a little, like they jump from one thing to another with a little too much convenience, which is something I accepted in Torchwood before because I was thinking of it as kind of a not lighter science fiction, but a spin-off. I'm into the concept, I'll accept it warts and all. Being on Stars, for some reason, they had marketed it as, wow, we've really stepped it up a notch now, and it just seemed like it was still a little stitched together. Although the idea of like all of a sudden nobody dies is great, and so if that concept appeals to you, you might be able to suffer through the few plot hitches. The dialogue was the thing that really disappointed me. There was some painful dialogue in that first episode, and I don't know why. I mean, same production crew that's worked on it. Russell T Davies and his friends, his team has been doing it. So I don't know what happened.
It's such a bummer. That's such a bummer. And as always happens, this is my great, I don't want to say it's my great character flaw because I'm sure I have way better ones. But this is one of the things that kills me about myself is the moment it only takes one person to crap on a property that I haven't seen yet to make it be like years till I give it a chance again. So I was like,
Falling Skies, on the other hand, is probably just as good as Torchwood Miracle Day, but because I had such low expectations for it, I'm really enjoying it. I'm like, you know what? This is a pretty decent. This is better than V. If you want to talk alien invasion, stuff.
Falling Skies is the one that didn't already get canceled. It was Outcast. Is that the one that you?
Outcast is the one I like on BBC, which apparently BBC America, which apparently BBC already canceled. But yeah, Falling Skies, good stuff. I mean, decent show and good characters, good acting. It's again not the tightest plot in the world, but it looks pretty, and that kind of makes up for a lot. So, again, if you don't like Spielberg, though, there's some Spielberg touches to it here and there that are going to make your stomach turn.
You know what's funny? It's like I tried to put into words what that Spielberg glow is, and I can't. I found myself epically failing. How would you describe? Because a lot of people describe it like, oh, well, it's got that Spielberg thing going for it. But what does that mean? Does that mean like epic sweeping vistas? Does it mean soft glow filters on everything?
It's that heart touching faith,
glossy
in the face of adversity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it has to do with the heart, I think, with Spielberg more than anything.
Absolutely, it's like every once in a while, just it gets get a little toothache. It's just like but it's always set off against some horrible disaster or weirdness.
Yeah, the first time I ever even heard the phrase "the Spielberg glow" was Joe Bob Briggs used to have a show on I think TMC or Turner Classic Movies or something, TCM, where they were showing the original Twilight Zone the movie, and they were talking. He directed the Kick the Can segment of that movie. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
With Scatman Carruthers on there.
Yeah.
But he was talking about the Spielberg glow. If you like that kind of thing, and being a kid growing up with this, I just assumed that Spielberg equals awesome, and it was the first time I'd ever had anyone say that they didn't like the Spielberg glow. And then for years I've been trying to quantify what that is.
Finally, coming up this Friday, Haven returns to Sci-Fi. I think it's one of the most underrated shows on TV. Looks great, shot great, good stories. Can't wait for it to come back. And they've unfortunately relegated it to Friday, which is their second tier. Monday is where they're putting all their promotional muscle right now. So I'm a little sad about that. Friday used to be the pimp slot on Sci-Fi, but I'm glad it's coming back. I'm glad it didn't get canceled. So I'm looking forward to that. It's based on a Stephen King novel, the Colorado Kid, or novella, I guess, and good stuff.
And Jason Priestley is coming to Haven, from what the site says.
What?
That I'm less excited about. We'll see. Who knows?
Have you ever seen
Maybe he's just going to give a concert in Haven.
By the way, Jason Priestley actually went up several pegs in my book when he it was the first project he did, I think, after 90210, where he plays a hitman or a killer. Do you guys know the one I'm talking about?
No.
It is amazing. It's amazing.
Have you noticed, Brian, that every time you say, "Do you know the one I'm talking about?" I don't.
Well, the problem is
only when you don't say it am I like, oh yeah, I know that one.
Well, no. The problem is I hold you in such high regard, and you have so much more geek credit than I do that I just assume any movie or television show that I want to reference,
like,
you've already
hey, do you know
seen.
about this? Like, no, I never saw it.
No, here. You know what? I'm actually going to see if I could track down the name of this thing. I'm going to put here Jason Priestley.
Meanwhile, our sponsor for the show is, of course, Netflix, after our big story about Netflix at the top. So all I'm going to say about that is netflix.com/twit is the place to go if you want to try it out for free for 30 days. You're going to be under the new plans now, so if you want to experiment with them at no risk, try it out. Netflix.com/twit. We thank them for their support of Frame Rate. And we move on, unless you've got it right now.
No, I don't. And actually, I was trying to be clever and see if I could find it on Netflix. It was a pretty small movie, but basically he just takes a job as a hitman, and it's amazing because he just plays it like super cold-blooded and methodical. Like I don't know. I guess that's my new gig. Apparently, I kill people.
All right.
It's pretty.
Well, I guess my new gig is moving us on to Interferon. That was maybe one of the worst transitions I've ever heard.
Oh, man. It's your all-time best. Except for the part where you pointed it out.
That made it even worse.
Was it called Cold-Blooded, Brian?
Yeah, that looks right. Do you have the art in front of you? Can you show the box art for it?
Amazon page here. Yeah, this is totally it.
Yeah. Cold-Blooded is, despite how 90s that looks.
Looking very priestly in that picture.
It's a delightfully dark tale. I really enjoyed it. I saw a bootleg on VHS a while ago. Hey, talking about Interferon. Have you seen this insane viral marketing strategy that K-Swiss is doing?
K-Swiss, the sports apparel maker?
Yes. K-Swiss, the number 4, 5, or 6 shoemaker in the world. The K-Swiss that does 1% the business of Nike does and is in the perfect position to throw caution to the wind and have an outrageously profanity-laden 5-minute short movie.
Is this the thing you were working on making safe for us to play on the show?
We'll see if we did it. Actually, we're going to go to the Third Coast News Center. Have you reviewed it? Are we good on this?
I did review it, but then the show started and it was kind of hard to listen in, so we should be all right.
Okay, so he doesn't
all right,
know.
so cover your children's ears if you're just in case. The podcast version, it'll be totally safe. But if you're watching live, we may have missed a few. We don't know.
Some do it for the fame / poontang. The smartest ones get into business, but no one has ever done what I've just done. I own 51% of K-Swiss stock.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm not kidding. I'm in and you're out. Now get the out of my chair. Konnichiwa, bitches. I'm Kenneth Powers, the new CEO of K-Swiss. You're thinking, Kenny Powers, why the would you want to be the CEO of a business when you could easily just be out living the life of a functioning derelict? Well, the answer is simple. I'm changing the sports world. I want to get everybody to stop acting like all the time. Oops. So I didn't just sign the baddest athletes. I hired them to run the company. What's up, dog? I killed you. I started the rebuilding process by enlisting all-pro quarterback Matt Castle to command my high-powered marketing offense.
K-Swiss Tubes. We let the dogs out. Emphasis on we.
Who did it? We did it. It's good, Castle.
K-Swiss Tubes. Come at me, bro. Come at me.
Touchdown. Fantastic concepts, Castle.
What?
Me and Matt Castle just you up, dog. I brought in John Bones Jones to run HR, raise morale.
Shorter lunches. What is that? That I'm taking a long.
And for Director of Community Outreach, I got the ultimate people person, Jillian Michaels.
You want to look like a burrito in your prom dress, huh, Blondie? Bleed, bitch! Bleed!
Lastly, I brought in Rey Mysterio, head up security.
So this is by K-Swiss?
My safety.
This is by K-Swiss, man. They've got
and it's not part of Eastbound and Down.
No. Well, I mean, it's the character from Eastbound and Down, right?
Right.
But it's
Totally.
but this is K-Swiss is put out by actually the account on YouTube is KMF Powers for Kenny Powers. But this is their viral marketing campaign, and apparently like they got Mark Cuban in here. Listen to this.
$1 million. If you change your team's name to the Dallas K-Swiss Tubes.
Quit wasting my time, Kenny.
Before you say anything, prepare to shut the f*** up.
I'm thinking you're a dumbass, Kenny.
I'm making marketing that touches my audience deep inside. K-Swiss.
So anyway, this is the exact right move for a third or fourth tier shoe manufacturer who's got nothing to lose. Apparently, they're investing so much of their money that it's affecting their bottom line on profitability. But you notice they got all, like for example, they got Michael Bay on here.
Here, listen up, all right? Commercials.
I want you to direct a K-Swiss movie.
Okay, so anyway,
freaking long too.
I can't show the rest of this at this point because it becomes too graphic. But it's hilarious. He pitches him on a Kenny Powers K-Swiss movie where they rebrick. I just go watch it. Go watch it. If you're not afraid of the language, go to YouTube and look at the original videos. Here's the amazing part. They're so committed. First of all, like every third word is a curse word. I don't know if that's the actual CEO of K-Swiss, but his only line is "You got to be effing kidding me," and that is amazing to see them take such a ballsy approach for something that's so genuinely funny that this could put K-Swiss on the map. And I don't know whether or not it's going to sell any shoes. I do know it is funny as hell, and you guys should definitely check it out on YouTube.
I am actually preferring our next story, which is a new way of watching a progress bar, because that's what entertains me. No, actually, I really do like this.
Yeah, man, this is really weird because I would have thought by now the Nyan Cat meme would have been on its way out. You know, it seems like these memes.
What else can you do with Nyan Cat at this point that it hasn't already done? Progress bar. That's what.
Exactly. You click on it and you replace your actual normal Windows 7 progress bar with a Nyan Cat that poops out a little bit of a rainbow out the backside all the way across. It's awesome, but are you over Nyan Cat yet? Are we done with it?
I'm getting close, but this actually revived my interest.
It's funny because this is the time I would usually declare Nyan Cat to be dead, but let me do it. Smooth Jazz. Today they just dropped a Smooth Jazz cover of the Nyan Cat song. That and again, you just look for Nyan Cat Smooth Jazz. But listen, it goes.
I like it. It's jazzy. Plus, I like that he's kind of black and white, sort of film noir.
So I don't know. It's like
well, and then our next story is that YouTube is up the video limit to 10 hours, and one of the first things that people did was make a 10-hour-long Nyan Cat.
Oh my gosh! If you search for 10 hours, every single one of the big ones are all the most annoying memes in history. Amazing
Badger.
Hours. Yeah. Cows for 10 hours. Troll-a-lol for 10 hours. Witch Doctor for 10 hours. What else? Guile theme goes with everything for 10 hours.
All of your favorites, all of the greatest hits now 10 hours long on YouTube.com.
What is love for 10 hours?
Wow.
You know what this is finally they have the technology at YouTube to finally escalate YouTube to the level of You're the Man Now, Dog. Thank goodness they finally hit that level.
It's about time. And you know what else it's time for? Feedback.
Now it's time for feedback with Brian and Tom on Frame Rate. Oh, yeah.
Hey, we actually have a proper amount of time for feedback this week. And,
hey, fantastic. And actually, this first one, you noticed I put the two stories here side by side because they have very similar takes. But this first one comes from John Pennington, who asked...
I was in Roadkill with a guy named John Pennington, but I bet it was a different John Pennington.
You know what? Maybe it is. Says, hey, guys, I'm really bummed that Tom's not in that band within me anymore. I said within me anymore. You were talking about Pixar's penchant for violence or other content that's just too much for kids.
Penchant.
Not a problem. It's a Disney. I'm an American. I ain't no French Canadian. Penchant is what I'm saying. It's a Disney problem, and it's been a problem since Snow White. Disney has been making kids literally PISS in the seats since 1937, or at least sob uncontrollably. Don't believe me? Watch that one again through a kindergartner parent's eyes, and he later goes to correct himself, saying he really meant Sleeping Beauty, the dragon scene in Sleeping Beauty. Watch that one through a kindergartner parent's eyes. The scene when the witch is being confronted and turns into a dragon had theater owners angry at Disney for literally causing damage to their property. I don't know what that means. For something a little more recent, how about The Lion King, where Simba's father was pushed off a cliff by Scar, and the camera watches the look on his face as he falls to his own death. Not all Pixar films are violent, nor are all Disney films, but most of them do involve, if not hinge upon, some great tragedy. And that
Joe wrote a similar email pointing out that Mufasa is stamped to death, Meg is killed and sent to the underworld in Hercules, Bambi's mother killed in the beginning of the spoiler alert. Tarzan shot by Clayton in 19. So lots of people pointing out examples of how Disney does this kind of stuff. But so what I wonder is, why didn't we hear the outrage? And we are with Cars. I think there's something in the approach and the relationship of what happens in Cars, and maybe our current mindset about torture and terrorism, I don't know, that's different than these more acceptable, although equally, arguably, as Joe has said, violent images. There's something in Cars that really set people off.
I'm going to say that it's not the what happened, it's the how it was happening. And what I mean by that, and I haven't seen Cars 2 yet, so I can't speak to it, but I do know this. Pixar are absolute masters of conveying nuance in character facial animations, and in you believe everything about them. And for some reason, like, I could draw a cartoon butt, and it can be hilarious. Someone more talented than me can draw a cartoon butt that finds you unexpectedly aroused. And then you're like, one's not okay because they're like, ooh, that brought something out of me that I'm not ready to have brought out while I'm at the kids' movie. The other one, like, haha, that's a funny butt. And so I'm going to say Pixar may have unintentionally brought something out of people that made them uncomfortable.
You know what? That's a really good point. And the fact that it's Cars, I think, extends that issue because Bambi's an animal. And so animals die, and I'm expecting that, right? Yeah. But Cars is so removed. It's so like, well, these are imaginary cars that talk, so that when you do start feeling what you're talking about, it makes it that much worse because you were less prepared for it.
Yeah, well, exactly, and especially, you know, given the nature of the first one, you know, essentially having a graphic, you know, Jack Bauer 24 style, you know, electrocution torture scene, especially if it's executed well. And let's face it, if there's one thing that Pixar does amazingly well, it's convey misery. If all of a sudden you're experiencing that, what you thought was going to be a childhood romp, I could see you getting upset about it.
Jalal from Chicago writes, I often hear you guys talk about how theaters need to go above and beyond to provide an enjoyable movie experience in order to attract customers, and how the Alamo Draft House is an example of how this can succeed. I have two similar theaters in my area called Hollywood Boulevard and Movie Co., and I agree that these provide an awesome experience and are often worth the extra cost. However, I would like to know what you guys think of drive-in theaters. I've only been to one, the Cascade in West Chicago, but the 2 times that I went, it has been worth it. In case you're interested, there are links to 2 sites that list drive-ins by state. I'm not sure how accurate they are since the design has not been updated in some time, and drive-ins tend to go out of business, kind of go in and out of business if they are kept alive at all.
Now, what do you think about this? Last time I went to a drive-in theater was a little over a decade ago, but I've probably been to 3 or 4 in my adult life.
They're so rare. It's so hard to find them these days. I loved drive-ins. That's where I saw Star Wars for the first time, was at a drive-in theater in Springfield, Illinois.
Well, and all of them have been, in my experience, in the last 15 years, very shabby, second-rate movie-going experiences. Have you experienced the same thing?
I haven't been to a drive-in since early 90s, and yeah, it was the 99-cent films type of situation.
I'm going to suggest that just as that drive-ins are so unhip now that if you want to be the person to create the next Alamo Draft House, I think drive-ins is a great space to get into. Nobody in the entire United States is bringing a kitsch, awesome, high-end experience themed around a drive-in where you actually drive in and get awesome sound.
No. I think you're absolutely right, and somebody should do that. But also, someone should actually create a drive-in where the cars are all classic and they're already there.
You actually go sit in classic cars, and you know, it'll be like an old-timey radio, but the speakers, you'll have 5.1 surround sound around you. They're all open-ended. That would be amazing.
So yeah, I mean, all you got to do is find shells at junkyards and kind of spruce them up. They don't have to run. No. But people can get in and sit in like an old 55 Chevy and watch a freaking drive-in movie.
Think about this. You could go full-on experience, and you hire sexy girls riding around in roller skates, and you do 50s-themed popcorn or whatever, and you could even maybe give a discount as long as you look like you came from the 1950s. There was one, I performed with this group called the Bindlestiff Circus, where they had one price for everyone, but a different price if you came dressed as a clown.
Nice.
And everyone who came dressed as a clown was invested in the show, and that's why those were always the most electric shows. If you make it the kind of thing, maybe you make it to where it's like, I'm sorry, you can only get in if you dress in 1950s appropriate attire.
All right, pick one last email before we head out of here.
You know what? We got 18 billion, and that is not an exaggeration. I actually counted 18 billion recommendations. Everybody wanted to know if we had seen all these different movies. And I'm going to pick this one up. You know, some people are asking about the Winnie the Pooh movie, saying that he liked the old school animation style. Some people asking about Franklin and Bash. But I like this one. Tom asks, hey guys, you showed us the trailer for Super some months ago, and I was wondering if either of you saw it and what you thought of it. According to IMDb, the movie only made about $322,000, which I found odd considering the cast included some sort of big names like Rainn Wilson, Ellen Page, Liv Tyler, Kevin Bacon, and brief appearances by Nathan Fillion and even Michael Rooker. Don't those last two make you want to watch it alone? Thanks, Tom. You know, I have not seen it, and I remember seeing the preview and loving it. You didn't love the preview, but I loved it.
I didn't see it. It's another one. It's another one that I didn't see, Brian.
Well, I haven't seen it either, but I am going to go see it. I'm going to go see it because it's not right for a movie.
Let's go see it together
in the drive-in.
In our classic car. Actually, you know what? I would like to give it a shot. So this is where I think movies are going to change in the next 10 or 15 years. Is that won't be a problem. It will be available somewhere, and I'll be able to watch it, and I'll be able to give money for watching it. So
yes.
I hope that happens someday.
Agreed.
That's it for this episode of Frame Rate, folks. Don't forget to find us live on Twit every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern at live.twit.tv. And don't forget to email us, framerateshow@gmail.com. We will see you at the movies. Oh, wait, that's copyrighted. I trademarked or something. We'll see you next time.
Google Plus, Brian Brushwood.
Friendster, Tom Merritt.